Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Language Talks. We are delighted to welcome Saumitra Mahajan, a distinguished professional with nearly 20 years of experience in the language services industry. Saumitra is the director of Flatworld Language Solutions, which is a Pune-based multidisciplinary language consultancy. Under his leadership, the company has grown to offer services in over 20 Indian and international languages. His company has recently expanded into AI-assisted subtitling and strategic linguistic consultancy. He has extensive international exposure, particularly in Latin America, where he developed fluency in Spanish and Portuguese. His academic foundation includes a degree in French literature, a diploma in French from the University of Paris, and advanced studies in Spanish, all complemented by an MBA in international business. His roles as a translator, interpreter, trainer, and recruiter offer him a comprehensive 360-degree view of this sector. He's currently authoring a book that blends spiritual insights with the practical wisdom gained over the years from his rich professional life. Hi, Saumitra.
Hi, Lalita.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. I look forward to a wonderful discussion with you.
Same here. Absolutely.
So let's start at the very beginning. How did your journey with languages begin? I mean, what drew you to French and Portuguese in particular?
Okay. That language journey actually began when I was in school. Although I never thought that I would get into languages. Later on, I went to Brazil for an exchange to a youth exchange program. And that's where I realized that I like to learn languages because I learned Portuguese in Brazil right from scratch. I mean, I reached Brazil and I had no knowledge of Portuguese. And so I started learning that language from scratch in Brazil. And that's where I actually realized that I always had this flair or thing for languages. And that is how actually the journey started. And I learned Brazilian Portuguese over there. I was there for 1 year. I stayed with a family and went to a public school over there. So that's how I started learning Portuguese. Then when I came back, I continued that journey. We did not have much many avenues to learn Portuguese in Pune. So when I came back, I started off with Spanish, and that too I learned quite quickly. And so then automatically I went to arts, and I took French as my majors, French literature. So that's how actually French. I mean, the journey started with Sanskrit, and then Portuguese and Spanish, and then French. That's how the journey began. So yeah,
Wow.
it was a journey.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. That's great. So, what is your first memory of realizing the power of speaking a foreign language?
I think it has to go back to Brazil because when I landed in Brazil, I mean, that's an interesting incident I remember. I landed in Brazil. I did not know a single word in Portuguese. And that's where I realized the power of language and the requirement and the need to learn that language. Because what happened, I had my next connecting local or domestic flight in Brazil in another 4 hours or 5 hours, if I'm not wrong. And the previous flight had gotten delayed by I think an hour or so. So and I was completely lost because all the things were in Portuguese. All the boards were in Portuguese, although it was an international airport. I mean, I was with two of my friends from Pune, and we all three went to the police station, the airport police. And I asked them, how do I go to this? This is my next journey and ticket and everything. And how do I go there? And that's when they said, uh, we don't understand English. And so we were kind of lost uh, because we were all, what, 16, 17-year olds and completely in a different country, in a different language. So we had to do a lot of hand gestures. Then I found someone who could speak English, whatever tuta futa English. And then I explained him what the problem was, and he said, "Okay, ठीक है, let me check this with the police." And so he explained it in their language in Portuguese, and then somehow, just I think 15 minutes before the gates closed, we were there. So it was an adventurous journey right from then, and that's where I
Okay.
realized, okay, this is very fun because you get to you get to talk to other people, you get to know them, and probably even solve their problems. So I think it's about this need or this want or this desire to solve people's problem. That's what I think brought me to learning languages per se.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting memory, I should say.
Yeah, thank you.
Saumitra, can you tell us what inspired the founding of your company, Flatworld Language Solutions?
Uh, in a simple one word answer, that would be disrespect or not acknowledging the efforts that I had put in. The
Is
story
it?
goes very
Okay.
simple. Uh,
Mhm.
I was working with, I mean, of course, after the exchange, the education completed my MBA and all those things. I started working for an international or Indian manufacturing company. And with that, I was looking after their Brazil and Mexico market. And so I was, of course, I was a BA graduate. And actually, I had taught them Spanish before going to Mumbai for my first job. And they invited me back and they offered me a job in Pune uh, in the same company. And that's where my Brazilian professional journey, you can say, started. And I used to be the salesperson, sales representative of that manufacturing company in Brazil and Mexico, and used to do all those things that a salesperson would do, and bring the new clients to our company. And probably um, in the last phase of completion of sales of a sales process, the person would always ask me to send in our sales engineer. Okay, and that was something which I didn't like, honestly. I was like, ये काम मैंने किया है, ये client मैंने पकड़ के ले गया, पकड़ के लाया है, और सब explain किया है, सब convince किया है, सब किया है, and at the end, the sales engineer would take away all the, what do you say, not the credit,
Credit.
of course,
Mhm.
not the credit, but the fun of it, the what you can say, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, glamour of the entire work.
I see. Okay.
So he used to take it, and I was like, नहीं यार, ये मैंने किया है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. And I mean, it was very normal for them. It was not that they were doing it purposely. So I was like, नहीं यार, ये मैंने किया है, तो ये ग्लैमर भी मुझे चाहिए, क्रेडिट भी मुझे चाहिए. Don't give me incentives, that's fine, but I need that. And so when it happened multiple times, I started really thinking over it, because, of course, I mean, it's not that I was answering all their questions. Of course, there were a few technical questions which I could not understand because I was not an engineer. So automatically, I started falling off that work profile, and that's where I started questioning myself. If I want this so desperately, then what is it that will give it to me? And that's when the birth of Flatworld uh, happened,
Happened.
at least in my brain, in my mind. And probably it took me another 6 to 8 months to actually start working as
Right.
Flatworld Language Solutions. And
I see.
actually, Flatworld also had two births, I can say. One was
Mhm.
when actually I quit my regular job, the engineering sales wala job, and I started with translation, freelance translation. And then after around 3 to 6, I think 3 to 4 months, I realized that ये अपने बस की बात नहीं है. Flat world, yeah, for doing business is not something I was trained for. And I mean, till then I was selling machines, something tangible, some products. And from there to selling languages, it was a huge journey for me. And so I started working with a company. Then I worked at two companies for in language field. And then I said, okay, ठीक है, अभी 2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस मिला है लैंग्वेज के साथ, क्या क्या हो सकता है, ट्रांसलेशन क्या होता है, ट्रांसलेशन की फेजेस क्या होती है, ये सब जानने के बाद, पढ़ने के बाद, देन आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, नाउ आई एम equipped enough to start my own journey as Flatworld. And then let's see. I mean, at least I have got sufficient, what you can say, content which will help me in the next 2 years or 3 years. And वो 2-3 साल में मैं नहीं, I will learn new things. So it will help me in going ahead. So that is how the learning
Okay.
process of the Flatworld Language Solutions started, started again after 2 years.
Okay, that is interesting again. Saumitra, can you tell us how has Flatworld evolved over the years and which sectors have you catered to?
Being a first timer in any business, it's always about survival. And also about delivering quality. So quality always, I mean, it was always about delivering good quality stuff to whoever has approached me for that. Now, when I look back, there have been a few milestones. For example, in the third year, uh, there was a huge assignment where we worked on IoT training, Internet of Things training for languages. It was a 4 months long project where it was kind of an on site project. So I had a team of around 12 linguists with me, and they all worked there. We all worked there. So that was one thing. That was the first time where I felt, yes, I've arrived. I've come there. I'm there now. Now there is no turning back. So that happened. Then a book came up for translation, a literature translation book. So we translated that. So a few books we have translated so far. Then a new college, we were approached by a college, and that's when we entered the education sector. So so translation was there. Of course, there were meanwhile there were around 2 to 3, again 3 months, 4 months interpretation assignments. They were actually what you can say, building blocks. Whatever Flatworld has become today, these all incidences, these all experiences, these all clients, they have helped us build this building. It is not that we've built it something on our own. So these are all building blocks. कि ये कर दिया, अभी ट्रांसलेशन किया, इंटरप्रिटेशन किया, एजुकेशन सेक्टर में we started teaching. Then we started our own translation course, because by that time we were upfront, and we were confident enough to say that we understand translation, or at least I understand translation, and I can design a wonderful course for people to understand or learn translation. So that was another building block. So that was another milestone, I would say. Now we started also giving back to people. What do you mean by now? There were people asking me, how do you do translation? What is the translation? What are the tools? What is the deadline? How do you handle clients? All those things. So there was a need of educating people on what is translation. So that's how that translation course gave us that edge also, that we understand translation. And I think it is easier for people to learn it and get into the business. So that was one of the key turning points or key milestone for Flatworld. And of course, recently we started off with video localization. Again, it's all I mean, all these things, building blocks, I call them. They are all thanks to our clients, thanks to our translators, definitely, who have helped us all these years to build this building. And so
Right.
so video localization was the latest. Uh, Now I can call it a feather in cap, not anymore a building block. So now the building is ready, and that's why the feathers are coming up. So yeah, so now we are ready to fly.
Oh, that's nice. Recently, Flatworld played a role in the Global Opportunity Youth Network convening. So, how was that experience like, and what were the key takeaways?
Oh, it was a wonderful project. Actually, GOYN came to me from a very dear friend of mine. So she is the head of an NGO called Lighthouse, and they're doing great job of training underprivileged youth. They're training underprivileged youth for bringing them all so that they can be brought in the mainstream employment. So it's a wonderful job they are doing, and of course, I have a background, or you can say a family background of social work. So my grandparents were freedom fighters. Then again after freedom, they were running a few ashrams in Pune. So my father has been a lot, very very active in social work. So there has always been an angle of social work, or maybe supporting the society that I live in, and also the one that supports me to do business. So that is how it was always there on my mind, and so I was talking with my friend, and she said, "Ki, Arey, we have this requirement. We have this international convention." And actually, it started off somewhere around March last year, March or April. The first call was around March, April 2024, and the event was in November. I was like, that's a huge timeline. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you just figure it out and let me know. I'm there to support you with language support, language services. And then the requirement came, and then we checked and we figured it out. In fact, what they wanted was translators. That's it. So the discussion began with this, that we have around five nationalities or people coming from various countries, and we need five languages. Okay, and then that's how we started working ulta. Ki, okay, theek hai, to get this here, what all do you need? And then that was a wonderful journey because we collaborated with a vendor from Delhi. He was I mean, now we are quite a good bunch of friends, you can say, because we have been in touch since then, and we keep on sharing work with each other. So this vendor is a mic supplier, or the interpretation equipment supplier, and so we went through a lot of people. In fact, being a part of Sitlop, it also gave me an access to talk to other people, other companies in other cities in Pune, in India, in the language sector. And so we finalized this person, and then when I went to Delhi, I met this person in person. I checked all the setup, came back, I gave it to them, and of course, the client was in social service, so they did not really know exactly how things will work and what will be required. So I had to educate them many times from point to point कि ये लगता है ऐसे होता है ऐसे नहीं होता है, and it is not AI based, it is human based. So many things happened, and so it was a wonderful experience because we had to educate, we had to collaborate, uh, we had to deliver on time and without a single minute of lag.
Nice.
So that was wonderful. GeoWine was a great learning experience, a great experiment for me, as a professional experiment. I keep on doing these things. So yeah, so that was a wonderful thing.
Oh, that's nice. You mentioned Sitlop just now. So
Yes.
you are, as the Sitlop ambassador and an active participant in events of Sitlop like Samvad.
Hmm.
So, how have these engagements shaped your perspective on the language services industry?
I think it is very important. I mean, मला असं वाटतं की it is really helpful if you're a part of any national level confederation, not just for the networking part of it. Networking is important, no doubt about it. But at the same time, uh, me or Flatworld being a Pune-based company, and we don't have a direct access to information, to technology from other countries. Although we work with a few international clients, but just few. Okay, it's not that we work only with international clients. So sometimes what happens is that it is important that we are a part of this type of confederation or SITLOB for that matter. So SITLOB is the confederation of interpreting and translation and localization businesses in India. So it is kind of the apex body in translation industry in India. So what it offers you is a bird's eye view of emerging trends, technologies, expectations across the language service industry. So these are the things which you need to understand. You cater to them or not, your client is expecting that or not is a different story. But you need to understand what is happening around. I'm doing my business is good, but then only this much can be done. When I have a worldview, I can do this much, or probably even more than that. So it is really important to be a part of this. Networking and collaboration is a very, very important part of this also, so that networking gives you an idea of what is happening in the sector. Also, it gives you an understanding of where it all is leading, a and how and where do you stand in that whole game. Okay, so that is very important. That I think
Okay.
we need to
Mhm.
understand from Sitla professionals. Understand what is the need of what is the technology that is happening, and they whatever upskilling they need to do. So that is also very important. And for clients, it is very important again because they understand because they come up with any language because once they are with you, they don't really leave you easily.
Okay.
So they would want some, I don't know, some remote Indian domestic language translation, and it becomes really difficult. But then, if you're a part of this type of confederation, then definitely you get to know and get to talk to people who can probably support you in that, and that is
Okay.
how this collaboration helps.
Flatworld is also actively involved in various events for all age groups, and you engage them in writing, speaking, or storytelling activities in various languages. So I find this really interesting and necessary also. So can you tell us more?
I can talk about this for years, even because this is something which is very close to my heart.
Mhm.
As I said, I have this background of social work, right? So all these activities they stem from this giving back to the society feeling. And so we started off first. I think we started off with Firangi Samskar Varga. 2015, 2016, we started with Firangi Samskar Varga, which was a 15-day language introduction course for kids, or a camp, you can say, a 15-day where they would get to know about their food, their clothing, their music, their art, also their economy, their business industry. So we used to tell them on various days. I mean, in 15 days, we used to train them on that, or train them, or rather, expose them to that, and also teach them a few introductory sentences, or maybe a few, yeah, sentences in that foreign language. So that was Firangi Samskar Varga, which was for kids specifically. I think it was for 8 to 14. We did it for around 3 years, and then we stopped it for some reason. And then I think we started off with Pirangi Katta, meanwhile, which is again Pirangi Katta, as the name suggests, it's a katta. So generally, for those who don't know what is a katta, katta is a place where you meet your friends in the evening. After your work is done, after your school, college, everything is done, you meet them for a while for leisurely talk, for informal discussions,
Just
all
hang
those
out.
things. Yeah, just
Right.
hang out, generally. So that's a katta, and that is how we started Pirangi Katta, because that place was a place of discussion, of general talks. The only twist in the tale was it had to be in a foreign language. So whichever foreign language you speak. So we had actually launched 5 Firangi Kattas for French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, and Japanese. So those 5 languages we ran that activity for around 4 months, and then again we stopped it for some other reason, because then a new idea came to my mind. That was of Global Villager Challenge, which was a translation contest for various freelance translators specifically. And the only thing was they had to translate from foreign language to Marathi directly. So it was not a true contest. And again, there we used it was a huge setup actually. It was a wonderful initiative. The sheer amount of planning it took was amazing. The people involved in that were also amazing because we had, of course, Flatworld team. We had teachers, very senior teachers from Pune uh, in the language field. So they were our supervisors and they were our suppliers of texts. So they helped us a lot. They believed in us and they supported this activity a lot. It used to go for around 4 months of that entire process. So from announcing that to giving the awards, the entire process of a 4 months long duration, and that was amazing. Again, the main purpose of this was to give the translators a break from their usual technical translations and probably remind them of a skill of an art they have in their life, because many times what I've seen is while doing the translations it becomes very monotonous. Also it becomes very money oriented. So at the end, understand you're an artist. A language professional is an artist, and we need to remind them of that sometimes because that sorts out many things in life. Okay, so that was our attempt to do that. We did that for again 4 years, 4 good years. We did that, uh, and then I think the last initiative we did was Kapus Kondachi Goshta, which was again for kids, which was a storytelling session for the kids, again, specifically translating foreign stories into Marathi and presenting them. We partnered with a wonderful duo, Kalpesh Sameda and Pratiksha Khasnis. They formed a group called Tiny Tales. Wonderful artists, beautiful actors, very, very loving, and the kids loved them. So we were glad and we were blessed to have them around, and that activity went on for almost 1 year with 25 such sessions of storytelling, and then COVID happened, so it stopped all, and then we didn't want to do that online, so we wanted to keep it offline only,
Okay.
specifically. So those were the things, those were the initiatives that we've done, and the purpose has always been to remind people of their art, their skill, and also to give them some different view at everything that they see around them.
Mhm. So you connected them with their creative side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope
that's
so.
great. That's great. Soumitra, you are a skilled translator and interpreter. So, what
Mhm.
skills do you think translators or interpreters must develop beyond language proficiency?
Nice question. Thank you very much for asking that. That's a really important question that people need to understand. It's not only about languages, because when people see in any career also, whenever you're developing your career, you're building your career, you got to develop your CV, and you need to understand there is much more to you and to your career than only learning a specific skill. So जर्मन सीख लिया तो हो गया, ऐसा नहीं होता है. There are few things which you need to understand. The first and foremost thing is marketing. You need to understand marketing. You need to market yourself. People will not know about you if you're sitting in your apartment, your home, and doing the translation. No one knows that there is someone who's doing a good job unless you go out and tell them. I'm not saying start spending a lot of money on marketing and branding and everything, but the easiest way to keep a track of it is by developing your CV. Visit your CV every year. So probably on the 1st of Jan or 2nd of Jan, before making that useless list of resolutions of the year, just pull up your CV and work on that. Last year, what have I done different? I'm doing translation. Okay. I'm doing engineering. Okay. Last year I did something for psychology. Okay. Note it down. Just one word. But that is important, and that's when you will understand what all you've done, and that is when you're talking to the client. It will be easier for you to say, "Okay, okay, I've done all these things." Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why marketing, documentation, these things are extremely important. And so comes the next thing, that is networking. So be a part of some platforms like Sitlaw, be a platform of part of platform like language professional groups. It is very important for you guys to collaborate and talk to people about it. Okay, because then otherwise you will have your set of clients, and you'll get work from them. And once they are done, they'll say, okay, bye. Thank you. It was nice working with you. And they're also right. I mean, they can't have a lifelong list or a lifelong list of documents, or quantity of documents. कि ये इसका घर मैं ही चलाऊंगा. No one says that. Okay. So you got to go out and talk to people, network with them. That is really important. Also, nowadays, it is really important to understand technology, where the technology is leading to, and what what all it requires uh, to be relevant in these times. In short, upskilling yourself, understand the trends. Okay, again, go to conferences, go to various places where they talk about language services. Okay, talk to your clients. Again, talking to your clients can give you a lot of insight into what they are looking at or how they look at technology. And then you can say, okay, okay, I have understood this, and now I need to upskill myself with XYZ skill. That is very important. So, if you ask me, apart from language, marketing, documentation, that is building your CV, networking, understanding or technology, keeping yourself updated with the technology, the news in your sector, by probably being at Samvad type conferences, okay, in India, or wherever you can afford to go. Please go. And the last one is upskilling yourself. Now, as they say, it's all about prompt engineering. So understand what is prompt engineering. Um, One simple thing. I mean, I still prefer to be innocent, okay, and innocently believe that technology is there to help you. Okay, uh, so don't take it as an attack on you personally, or on your industry. It's about understanding that, okay, the technology is there to help you. Okay, so with the help of technology, if I was translating 500 words an hour last month, with technology I'm translating 700 words. I'm not saying you'll be able to translate 50,000 words in a day, in an hour.
Yeah.
But you need to understand that technology is there to help you.
Mm.
जब तक वो help कर रही है, करने दो. Okay, don't stop. Don't think about anything else. Just be there, learn, and move ahead. It's as simple as कि यहाँ से मुंबई पैदल जाने में maybe you will take around 2 days. Let's put it. But with the help of technology, that is a car, you can go there in 2 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So understand your trajectory also. So that is how technology helps you, and that is how
Okay.
as I said, believe, or I prefer to believe in that.
Right. Can you tell us about one professional moment that made you feel, yes, this is why I chose this path?
But there are many.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One was what we spoke about, GOI and convening, the last year's
Right.
thing, because I did something that helped people understand global ideas. Okay, and so it made me happy because I supported. I with my help, it was communicated to all the youth here, and so it was really a satisfying moment for me. Okay, I something that I have done 20 years back, that is learning a foreign language, has helped someone in Pune, in a remote area, some underprivileged guy. was helped because of my learning there. So, so I felt nice. So that was one thing that gave me a boost or an opportunity to actually feel good about what I'm doing. There was one pharma audit I remember, which was a very crucial one and interesting one. I was doing it for the first time. It was a pharma audit for export of medicines from Pune to South America, and the health ministry people of that country had come down to Pune for the audit of their factory, of their manufacturing processes, of their personnel, of their documentation, everything. So, uh, so they had come down to Pune, and they were going through. I mean, it was a rigorous audit. Honestly, it was my first time, and so it was really difficult for me to predict anything. And also it was about pharma. So again, I'm not from a technical background or a medical background, so it was difficult for me to sometimes understand also what they're talking about. So that interpretation was really challenging. A so it was a great learning experience because at the last moment there was a technical hiccup. Those people wanted some document, which I mean I was accompanied by a fellow linguist with me, and so we were two teams. So she was handling the documentation, the office part of it, and I was handling the production part of it. So there was a problem, and the other team came running कि यार वहां पे कुछ वो हो नहीं रहा है, वो बोल रहे कि नहीं होगा, ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा. So the first reaction of people around me was like, ये अभी under the table discussion शुरू होगा सब and all that. So like okay, I have no idea how does that work. So I went there and I checked it, and they were looking for some technical document. Okay, so it was not about what was an obvious reaction, but it was some technical document. I tried to learn that entire process and then find out that document from their bunch of documents. And we gave it to them. And they said, yeah, but this is in English. So, like, I'll get it done in Spanish, don't worry. And I sent it to my translator. She translated it in. I mean, we had kept one translator on hold in the office. उसको बोला था कि जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट बोले अगले 2 घंटे में ट्रांसलेट करके चाहिए, बस जो भी करना है कर ले. And so we translated and we gave it to them, and they're like, "Huh, this is fine." And so the problem was solved, and they got their authorization and all those permissions and everything. So it was really a learning experience, and that's where I felt like, yes, now this is something again, helping out people, sorting out their problems, or helping them in a way. Of course, it may not mean it for them, for the client, but it means a lot for me because without my help, they wouldn't have been able to expand their business to South America. And this has happened with over, I think, 250 clients of ours that we were able to bridge that communication gap, and probably they were able to expand. So I say sometimes that I'm helping the growth of India. You know, so it's the national
Of
interest
course. Mhm.
also, because otherwise, I mean, of course, मैं नहीं तो कोई और सही. But now, talking as a translator, talking as a professional language professional, this is what the contribution of language professionals is to the business, the industry, and to the entire growth story of India. And
Right.
I
Yes.
think that is what is thing. There was one more. Do we have time? I mean, can I say
Yeah, sure.
one or two incidences?
Please,
Um,
please.
One was this IoT training, which I talked about, uh, which I found very interesting because I was uh, as a team, as a Flatworld team, we were training the machines. So it was actually fun that we were training the machines so that they can build some chatbots on that training. So we were for 4 months, we were training machines, we were translating documents, we were just feeding them to the machines. And it was a wonderful thing because, again, it was, I think, back in 2016. And then GPT was nowhere to be seen. It was all IoT. Back then, they used to talk about IoT, Internet of Things. So it was very interesting to be at that point with the cutting edge technology. We're talking
Correct.
with the machines, and we are the ones who are training the machines
Right.
to deliver those
Okay.
outputs. So it was amazing. So that's when also I felt like यार ये मजा है, इस काम में मजा है, करना
So
चाहिए.
I think you are in this profession because you enjoy the work.
Oh,
You
I
enjoy
love it.
languages.
I love languages. I love talking to people, and I love doing all these things. And see, it's another thing. I love it. That's one thing. But not every time we end up loving things, right? And
Mhm.
we do things without emotions most of the times. Yeah, ठीक है यार, ट्रांसलेशन है, कर रहा हूँ ये, ट्रेनिंग है, टीचिंग है, चलता रहता है. So there is, but incidents or the client or clients or works like these, they really shape you or they give you the satisfaction that you're looking for. So at the end, of course, after money, the next big thing you see is the satisfaction part. So you're getting money, okay, but what about satisfaction? So that's what these things give. And I think one, I would just give you a clue on that. One incident that I remember, which was a very difficult situation actually for me. There was a simple interpretation, Portuguese language interpretation assignment. It was a medical translation interpretation again. But this time it was not the pharma audit or something. It was a medical tourist, as in a person from Mozambique had come to Pune for his whatever treatment, medical treatment, and
Okay.
he had come, and I don't know. I mean, the work, the case. I went there. I met with the doctor, the patient, all those things. Okay, the discussions happened. The doctor checked the reports. They were like, okay, okay, ये ठीक है, ये test करा दिया है, ये करा दिया है. Okay, okay, fine. सब ठीक हो गया. And then the last page, आगे doctor like, okay, ठीक है, no problem. So he closed the file, gave it to me. I explained everything to the patient कि ये हुआ है, ऐसे हुआ है, ये बोल रहे हैं, वो बोल रहे हैं, ये करना पड़ेगा, वो करना पड़ेगा. And after the closing the file, the doctor gave it back to the patient, and he looked at me and he said, "Just tell him to go home. We can't do anything about it. It's just simply a bad case." And by that time, I mean, I was adult enough to understand what is the meaning of bad case, and it was a real challenge for me because till then, doctor was normal. I mean, of course, for him it was a normal thing, right? I mean, for me, it was a different feeling altogether because I was frozen in that moment for a moment. I was like, how do I tell this to him? I mean, so I just went back and uh, I told him whatever was to be told. So I told him that it's late. In a way, I mean, sometimes when you don't know how to react to a situation, it's best to be honest to the reaction to your own self and react that way. I know. So
Absolutely.
I was just blank and I was blunt. I was like, uh, the doctor says it's likely late that you've come here. It'll be, in fact, better if you go home, spend some time with your family and friends, and then come back after 2 3 months when you're slightly better. Because the doctor knew that he did not have that much time also. So it was really painful, and we understand it, right? As they say, कि वो पता चल जाता है. So everyone they understood it, and they said, "Okay, fine, no problem." And that person was, I mean, this is I'm talking about 10 years back, so must be around 55ish. So he just looked at me and he said, "Thank you, son. It was nice working with you." And he said, "Do you have your? Can I have your email address?"
Okay.
Yeah. So I called up the client and I said, he's asking for my email address. Should I give it to him or not? I mean, I don't know. So she said, yeah, give it to him. If he says anything about the work or anything, then you relay it to me and then I'll take it ahead from there. So, like, okay, ठीक है. So I gave my email address to him. And after a week of that work, I got a mail from that person and he simply thanked me for being there. And I had no words to say. I just did not know how to react to that one. He said, "Thank you very much for not sugarcoating things and not giving me a false picture or false hope. Whatever you did was a wonderful thing. And it
Okay.
actually helped me calm down a lot." And I was like, now, I don't know if I was satisfied with that. I mean, since we're talking about what made me feel that, yes, this is the place where I want to be, or this is a place which gives me immense satisfaction, I'm not satisfied with that feeling. But the moment of being there, it just taught me so many things about so many people and about so many situations. And that just probably gave me something which was very, very personal to me. And so I think that is one of the reasons why I think that I'm at the right place. I'm doing the right things. It's. Uh, I mean, not everyone uh, can get this opportunity to convey a bad news
Right.
to good people. Whatever. So yeah, so it was something really. I mean, it messed up my peace of mind for a while, but
I'm sure.
uh, but definitely, I
But
mean, that
yeah.
also told me that I should not be so much involved in the work, emotionally. I
Emo-
should be committed. That's another story. That's another thing. Being committed, being dedicated is a thing. Sometimes becoming emotional about things can be problematic. So definitely, another thing that I would like to put it. I mean, I would rather right now. I remember that is the exposure to the technology, which I talked about IoT thing. Similarly, I was an interpreter with General Motors also when it was here in Pune, and they were launching a new car in Pune, in India. Uh, and for that, a person from Brazil had come to train the General Motors team here. And this was way before the car even went to ARAI passing. Okay. So when they thought of it, so they got those people here and everything. And so before even ARAI knew about the car, uh, I could see the technology. I could
oh,
be there
nice.
and experience this entire training. And so it was wonderful. So again, these are the moments which actually make me uh, make me feel very lucky also and feel very satisfied that yes, I'm doing something. I know something that people are yet to know. So I'm kind of ahead of them. So it's like it's kind of a pride thing. So many times I
Yes.
brag
That,
about things also.
that's a
ये
very
पता
nice
है?
feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
Like
one thing.
translators and interpreters know a lot about the world more than what a common man would, because we go
Absolutely.
deep into things, reading, translating. So
Absolutely.
yes, of
I mean,
course.
when you translate a medical document, you know the composition of the document of the medicine. You know the side effects of it and all those things, which otherwise people
Right.
don't know. So you can actually, flash your knowledge of कि यार ये भी मैंने पढ़ा है, वो भी पढ़ा है. It gives
I
you
know,
a
I know.
kick, you know. So those are the points where I actually felt, where I still feel. Um, to be on the right path. So yeah, that's one thing that is important.
That's amazing. Yeah, sure.
And as I said, I mean the book that I'm writing about is about these things because I think it's more about looking inside than outside, and so that's why many times I feel good to have chosen this path. So, and thank you very
That's
much for
great.
asking me that question
Yes.
because these are the small things which come in the life of a language professional, and we just miss out on them.
Mhm.
Just another work. And if with this podcast, if someone is able to see that and feel it and live it, it will be really helpful.
Surely. Definitely. Thank you for taking us with you down the memory lane. It was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think being on a podcast these days is is something very interesting, and I always wanted to be on a podcast. So thank you very much for
Mhm.
inviting me on my first ever podcast. I hope I've done a good job.
Yeah,
I'm not
of
sure.
course. You have given us insights into the language services industry and what all people do in this field. So, yes, that was amazing. And thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I guess this is one of the reasons why I love to be. I mean, today I'm feeling like I'm at the right place. I'm doing something
Ah,
good. Well, I mean, to be on your podcast, it's something really special for me. I mean, it's
oh,
not just any podcast. It's Lalita's podcast, and it's Lalita's podcast on languages. So
languages.
it's always
Same
fun. It's
passion.
yeah. It's
Absolutely.
always
Same passion. And yes, I mean, I'd love to have you here and talk to you about this same field. So thank you again, and you have a good day. Bye bye.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me in conversation with Saumitra Mahajan from Pune. See you in the next episode with the new language professionals. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.